The night of our graduation dinner, I took the drunk campus Belle to the campus bad boys' room. But I had accidentally taken her to the notorious campus rebels' room. And that mistake changed everything. That same night, my childhood friend confused me for her. What followed was a blur of chaos and regret. The next morning, the entire campus buzzed with rumors. They said I'd done it deliberately to destroy their relationship. For years after that night, we were bound together by a cold marriage. I tried every way I knew to reach his heart, but his affection never came. Until one evening, I overheard a phone call that shattered me completely. As long as Beth is happy, I don't mind wasting my life keeping Thea trapped. Who'd ever want to marry someone like her anyway? A dull bookworm? She wants a kid? Fine. I'll give her one. The screech of a car horn drowned out his last words. He turned, startled, and froze when he saw me standing there. His face drained of color. Then he ran toward me. The impact came before I could react. And everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was back at the graduation banquet, the same night everything began. Only this time, I wasn't going to play the fool. They could have each other. Only one person knew about my secret crush on the campus bad boy, Jackson, my childhood friend, Liam. On the night of our university graduation celebration, Beth, the campus beauty, had too much to drink and begged me to help her to a room to rest. I agreed without thinking. I didn't realize it was Jackson's room. The moment the door shut, Beth dropped her act. The drunken haze disappeared from her eyes, replaced by a smirk that chilled me. In my past life, I hadn't understood what that look meant. I'd been too naive, too blind. The world saw me as the scheming bookworm who'd stolen another girl's man. I never knew the truth until that final day, when I heard Liam's voice on the phone, cold, guilty, and full of lies. He had sacrificed his entire life for Beth, and I had been stupid enough to believe his love was real. When the car hit us, he threw himself in front of me. The sound of metal and glass exploded in my ears. Blood soaked the pavement. His back took the worst of it, but the impact sent me flying anyway. My vision dimmed. I could barely see his figure crawling toward me, every movement dragging trails of blood. His voice trembled, desperate and broken. Thea, wake up, please don't do this. Let me explain. I was wrong, so wrong. Each word felt like a knife twisting inside me. I coughed up a mouthful of blood, my body numb. With the last of my strength, I pulled my hand away from his grasp. Apologies meant nothing now. It was already too late. Thea, what do you mean, too late? You haven't drunk enough yet. Come on, one more glass. A voice pulled me out of my memories. I blinked, realizing I was back in my senior year. Jackson was hosting a graduation party at his family's empty villa. For everyone else, it was a milestone, the start of a new chapter. For me, it had been a nightmare in my past life. The soft, melodious voice belonged to Beth. Liam always told me I should be more like her, that even her anger had a certain charm, impossible to resist. I wasn't great with alcohol, but when the campus belle raised her glass for a toast, refusing would have been social suicide. Unfortunately, I had been reborn just a moment too late. A glass had already gone down my throat, and the world started to tilt. Still, I refused anymore. I adjusted my glasses, pretending to be drunker than I really was. Later, I had a plan to carry out. I couldn't afford to be truly impaired. Beth's eyes glimmered with sly amusement as she raised her own glass. If the star student won't drink, I'll finish it for her. I tilted my head, a faint, cold smile touching my lips. She drank from her glass, claiming it was for me. In my past life, I'd never had the wit to see such manipulation. Her words were honey-coated poison. I sipped a glass of water, observing quietly. By now, Liam had already gotten Jackson drunk and guided him upstairs. Liam himself was resting in the next room. Beth's performance wasn't for show. She had a different agenda. Her cheeks flushed, eyes glazed. She leaned on me, her voice just loud enough for others to hear. Thea, I drank so much for you, I'm dizzy. Can you help me upstairs? My life's in your hands now. You have to keep me safe, okay? In my past life, I had been completely fooled. I had drunk too much and stumbled, half dragged by her upstairs. This time, I saw through her ploy. She framed it so that her drunken state looked like my responsibility. Everyone around us would believe that whatever happened tonight was my fault. Her supposed helplessness made her the innocent victim. But from my perspective, Beth, taller and stronger, wasn't merely leaning on me. She dug her fingers into my shoulders to guide me. The pinch made me wince. Fine. I could play along. I pretended to remove my glasses, shaking off her grip, then went completely limp, collapsing into her arms. Shorter than her, flushed, looking fragile, I murmured, slurring softly, "Beth, I'm so dizzy. I can't walk." No one expected this. In their eyes, we were rivals, Beth with Liam's attention, me with my own secret crush. "Oh no. The star student is really drunk," someone exclaimed. Hidden in her embrace, I stayed silent, smirking slightly. Beth's eyes cleared briefly. She'd underestimated me. But she needed a scapegoat, so she didn't push me away. She had truly drunk enough to make her act believable, at least 80% gone. I looked up at her, hair messy, and whispered, "Beth, let's sleep together tonight." I didn't know what Beth had planned, but I meant it. The only way to prevent the disaster of my past life was to keep her close tonight. I had lived 10 years longer than this version of Beth. To me, she was a misguided girl, probably driven by something in university that made her desperate for a rich boyfriend. Yet she carefully maintained her good girl image, devising an elaborate scheme to frame me. Everyone had been led to believe I, jealous of Liam's affection, had intentionally taken her to the wrong room. In my previous life, her plan succeeded brilliantly. The morning after the party, my name became synonymous with vicious. People blamed me, cursed me, and eventually, I began to believe it myself. I thought I was responsible for everything. Her disappearance, Liam's lost love, all the heartbreak. I tried to make amends. Unable to find Beth, I poured my repentance into Liam. I loved him, tried to warm his cold heart, begged him to forgive me. The Liams had raised me. I owed them everything. But in truth, I had been the one deceived. Liam had been ready to sacrifice everything, to trap me in a marriage, simply to keep Beth happy. On the day of the crash, I was rushing to tell him I'd found her. Jackson had revealed where Beth had been the past 10 years. I wanted Liam to see her true self, to release his guilt over that night. But before I could speak, the accident struck, ending everything. I was grateful for this second chance. At the dinner table, I had thought about revenge, exposing Beth, giving her a taste of the humiliation she had orchestrated. But looking at her, young and vibrant, I couldn't bring myself to act. So when she asked for help to a room, I asked openly, in front of everyone, if she wanted to stay with me tonight. If she chose me and avoided repeating her past mistake, I would forgive. This was a new timeline. I couldn't punish her for a version of herself from another life. But I would respect her decision, even if she acted foolishly. Everyone must take responsibility for their choices. When she had me pinned between doors, I asked again, "Your choice. Sleep here, or come with me to another room." Alcohol clouded her gaze, but she shook her head, trying to think. I can't remember. She tapped her head several times. I tried to clarify. "Who do you choose?" "On the left." She interrupted, voice thick. I forgot who I drugged. Her words hit me like lightning. My image of her cracked. Beneath the pretty exterior was a calculating, rotten core. She would stoop to anything to get what she wanted. I wondered if I'd been drugged too. I stepped back, creating space. I asked again, but she answered the same. "Either one is fine. Doesn't matter." I exhaled, closing my eyes, forcing myself to let go of my savior complex. I watched, expression unreadable, as she stumbled toward Liam's room. Beth might have forgotten, but I remembered. And tonight, I would be the one to protect the unsuspecting bad boy. The moment I pushed the door open, a blast of cold air hit me. The room was in chaos. Water splashed across the floor, droplets echoing in the quiet space. Following the sound, I found him. Jackson, the notorious campus bad boy, lay sprawled against the sofa, ice water dripping from his head. His t-shirt was discarded, leaving him in only gray sweatpants. His black hair clung to his forehead, hiding his eyes, while droplets traced the sharp line of his jaw and soaked his pants in dark patches. It was a strangely captivating sight. His long fingers gripped a plastic water bottle, so tightly it creaked. When the last drop fell, he tilted his head back, licking the remaining moisture before sealing his lips around the opening again. The Jackson I remembered, red hair, a dozen piercings, a walking rebellion, looked different now. Defiant yet flushed, his breathing heavy. He seemed vulnerable. It took him a moment to notice me. "Who let me in?" "Get out," he snarled without lifting his gaze. When he finally looked up and saw me, the words died in his throat. He scrambled to stand, aiming for the mini fridge, but his legs betrayed him, and he collapsed again. I grabbed a bottle of ice water, twisted the cap, and offered it. "Jackson, where's your phone? I'll call a doctor." He gulped the water, spilling half over himself, then dug through his pockets. A bulge suggested a phone, but after fumbling, he looked at me, lips moving without sound. I reached into his pocket myself and immediately froze. My instincts from my past life as a urologist screamed, it wasn't a phone. Before I could react, Jackson's ragged breath warmed my ear. I flinched, turning to meet his feverish gaze. I'll get help," I stammered, scrambling to rise. But he grabbed my arm, pressing my hand against his sweat-soaked pants. A shudder passed through him, and he rasped my name. "Thea." I froze. Even in this state, he recognized me. My heart tightened at the memory of Liam mistaking me for someone else in my past life. A surge of cold fury rose in me. I stepped forward, lifted his chin, forcing his eyes to meet mine. "Say it. Who am I?" His skin burned beneath my touch. When I tried to pull away, he pressed my hand to his cheek, rubbing like a cat seeking comfort. Then, finally, he met my eyes. "Thea," he breathed. "Help me." Summer rain lingered, stretching into the morning. The world felt damp and quiet. I opened my eyes slowly. Jackson, the fearsome campus bad boy, lay surprisingly still, almost peaceful. The doctor had arrived in time last night. I had stayed by his side, watching the 4 drip steadily into his arm. He'd been poisoned, and soon the blood tests would confirm it. The sky was pale and brightening. I stretched, pretending not to notice his fluttering eyelashes, and slipped out to the room set aside for me. The villa was silent. My head hit the pillow, and I drifted into deep sleep. The sun was high when a frantic voice startled me awake. "Thea, wake up. Beth's missing." A small crowd had gathered around my bed, some worried, others drawn by gossip. "Beth's always causing trouble," one muttered. "Why does Thea sleep through everything, but Beth ends up in someone else's bed?" I pinched my arm hard, forcing tears to the surface, and sat up, voice trembling. I shouldn't have drunk that glass Beth gave me. My head is still spinning. Where did she go? We scoured the villa, eventually gathering outside Liam's door. I pushed my glasses at my nose, voice thick with guilt. "It's my fault. I slept too soundly. What if she went into the wrong room?" A notorious gossip couldn't resist. Liam was drunk too. What if? He banged on the door. The door opened, and I was pushed back. Liam stood in the doorway, tall, imposing, shirt half open, chest exposed. He scanned the crowd with lazy indifference. "What's all this noise? What happened?" "You're all imagining things." The chatter fell silent. That voice, it was the Liam I knew. Could he have been reborn too? Well, Liam, someone teased. "Looks like you've been busy. Too good for us virgins now." I met his gaze, noticing the scratches across his chest beneath the open shirt. The marks were obvious. Before I could speak, he demanded, voice sharp. "Thea, where were you last night? Why was Beth in my bed? Where did you go?" My chest tightened. Liam always used my full name, and yet, he had called Beth something else so easily. His confession before his death had been a lie. I frowned, disappointment and frustration washing over me. His words had already condemned me. The others turned their gaze to me. Even in this life, he thought I had framed Beth intentionally. The class president intervened. "Liam, she's not your property. Why are you yelling? Only Beth knows what happened." Their words stunned him. Thea was worried about her. She offered to sleep with her to make sure she was okay. "Who knows how Beth ended up in your bed?" Liam was speechless, irritation clear. He reached for me. I slapped his hand away. Tears filled my eyes, but he didn't notice. He only saw the mark my hand left on him. In 2 lifetimes, he had never spoken a soft word to me. Only Beth earned his tenderness. A hoarse, sweet female voice broke the tension. "Liam, are you not going to take responsibility for me?" Beth appeared, disheveled, her eyes red. She looked vulnerable and pitiful. The chaos erupted. She glared at Liam, then ran down the stairs in tears. He hesitated, torn between following her and staying. His eyes flicked to me. I refused to think about it. Wiping my own tears, I stepped back, disgust in my gaze. "Don't touch me. You like her, fine. Take her. She's yours." I had no interest in the chaos between Liam and Beth. Once things settled, I slipped back into Jackson's room. My eyes immediately went to the blood test results, and I froze. She really did this to you? The test revealed a controlled substance that caused muscle weakness and could have long-term effects. No wonder he had vanished for so long in my previous life. He'd been seeking treatment. Luckily, the doctor had intervened in time, preventing any permanent damage. Jackson barely reacted, sitting on the bed and staring out the window. Seeing him so exposed and vulnerable made my heart tighten. It wasn't until his ears turned bright red and he gave me a shy glance that I realized I had been staring. Before I could apologize, he handed me a credit card. Thanks for yesterday. Keep this, and can you keep it a secret? I glanced at the report. He was fine. Still, I nodded. I can, but I pushed the card back toward him, feeling slightly guilty. In exchange, will you be my boyfriend? He practically leapt from the bed, eyes wide. You like me? I panicked. In this timeline I actually did, but he didn't like me back. No, I quickly said, waving my hands. I need your help. Pretend to be my boyfriend, so I can move out of the Liam's house.
Can you do that?
The light in his eyes dimmed. I knew you wouldn't like me, he murmured. His voice was low, almost inaudible, and his posture casual, leaning against the headboard.
Sure.
You want to use me to get back at Liam, right? I had prepared a long speech, but it died on my lips. I hadn't expected him to agree so easily. After all, apart from high school, we had little connection. I recalled how different we had been in school. I sat in the front row. He slouched in the back. But somewhere along the way, maybe when he was late for class just as the teacher praised his improved grades, I had noticed him. That subtle curve of his lips, the quiet pride in his eyes, it made him real to me, not just a rebellious stereotype. Lost in thought, I didn't notice Jackson waving in front of my face. What's wrong? Worried Liam's getting hurt. I looked up at him, kneeling on the bed, leaning toward me. His eyes were serious, not playful. Of course I can, I said, meeting his gaze. It's a deal, then, boyfriend. I returned the card to his hand. We were now allies. He'd help me leave the Liams, and I'd help him get under Liam's skin. But the moment our eyes met, he looked away, flustered. He didn't take the card. The instant my fingers brushed it, he shot upright. Since you're my girlfriend, you have to spend my money, he stammered. Go change clothes. Anything that reminds you of Liam, throw it away. I glanced down, then smiled at him. Okay, whatever my boyfriend says. Perhaps it was the thrill of a new life, but my smile was genuine. Jackson caught it, smiling back. Just then, the butler knocked. I took my cue to leave, closing the door behind me as his worried voice called out, Young master, what are we going to do about this? I thought of Beth in my past life, and quietly shut the door. She had no one to pity her. People get what they deserve. I only wondered if the reborn Liam would intervene on her behalf. Back at the Liam's house, I started avoiding Liam. But returning to this familiar space brought old memories rushing back. The betrayal, the humiliation, the helplessness. In my past life, after Liam had mistaken me for Beth and Beth had gotten me drunk, I had woken to the horrifying truth. There was no one to confide in. I had scrubbed myself raw in the shower, accepting the situation because everyone assumed I should marry Liam. No one had cared about what I wanted. Having lived once before, I now knew the only person whose opinion truly mattered was my own. And I'm telling you the same thing, I said coldly as Liam blocked my doorway. My newfound independence clearly unsettled him. I don't think we have deep feelings for each other, I continued. Besides, you like Beth, don't you? You were willing to trap me in a marriage for her. What's with the act now? Understanding crossed his face. He must have realized I had returned. The old, naive Thea would never have been this composed. It's my fault, he said, intensity in his gaze. I used Beth to make you jealous. I don't care if she's happy. I only helped her because she could keep Jackson occupied. Thea, we grew up together. We're meant to be. You said you'd only love me. How could you like someone else? His words tumbled out, messy and desperate. In our past life, Grandma Liam had been desperate for a great-grandchild, yet our baby never came. Now, he remembered. I rolled my eyes, unmoved. We're not children anymore, I said coldly. Let's not make this ugly. Grandma is old. She can't take the stress. I'll move out soon. Stop bothering me. I turned and left, ignoring his reaction. Downstairs, I found Grandma Liam, worry etched on her face. Thea, did you and Liam fight? Why don't you get engaged before going abroad? I'll make the arrangements. I gently withdrew my hand. Grandma, I'm not going abroad. I have a boyfriend. And Liam doesn't like me. Grandma, Liam fell silent, letting out a long, heavy sigh. Graduation season had arrived, and finding a place to live was proving difficult. After days of searching, I ran into Jackson. He mentioned he had several vacant apartments and offered me one, rent-free. I refused to be indebted to him, insisting I could pay with my scholarship money, which was more than enough for now. The day we signed the lease, I treated him to dinner. As we walked home in the warm summer breeze, we unexpectedly ran into Liam, who seemed to have taken to ambushing me at every opportunity. He was leaning against the villa gate, partly hidden by dim light, but the intensity in his eyes as they locked onto me was unmistakable. "Thea, stay away from him," he shouted, possessiveness flaring. I instinctively clutched Jackson's sleeve. He stiffened briefly, then gently squeezed my hand, reassuring me without a word. For the first time, I felt what it was like to be protected. I instinctively pressed closer, and Liam's anger escalated. He lunged forward, but Jackson shoved him back. "Brother-in-law, I'm just walking my girlfriend home. Is that any of your business?" Jackson's words made Liam's eyes widen in fury. He seemed to forget I wasn't his wife anymore. I peeked from behind Jackson and gave him a silent thumbs up. He was playing the part perfectly. Liam raised his hand to strike again, but his mother appeared, halting him. Her eyes flicked from me to Jackson, her voice cold. "Thea, we have guests today. Perhaps your friend should come back another time." I had never liked Liam, in this life or the last, and certainly had no desire to become Mrs. Liam. Seeing his mother's disapproval, I pressed my body against Jackson, giving her a sweet smile. "Auntie, this is my boyfriend. Since there are guests, maybe I should come back later?" Liam's mother was momentarily stunned by my boldness, but she quickly masked it with composure and turned her anger on her son. "Useless boy, come with me." She began dragging him away, pausing to glance at me. "You too, Thea. This concerns both of you." I patted Jackson's hand, signaling he could let go. He leaned in and whispered, "I'll wait at the gate. Call me if you need anything." I nodded and followed them inside, unaware of who awaited me there. Grandma Liam usually went to bed early, but tonight she sat in her armchair, her face etched with worry. I wondered what kind of guest could have caused such a stir. As Liam and I entered, she sighed. "Oh, Liam, what have you done? You've brought shame upon the family." On the sofa sat Beth, her expression defiant. Over a month had passed since she vanished after the party, and now she was back. Her disdainful gaze swept over me before settling on Liam. Placing a hand on her stomach, she declared with feigned vulnerability, "Liam, I'm pregnant. Will you take responsibility?" Grandma Liam sighed. Liam's brows furrowed, likely not expecting the girl he had coveted in his past life to assert herself in this one. I kept my head down, standing beside Grandma Liam. Beth's heavy makeup made her look older and more calculating. Her parents were meek, but she addressed the Liam elders with authority. Her ultimatum was clear: either she and Liam marry immediately or receive compensation to keep quiet or terminate the pregnancy. At the mention of abortion, Grandma Liam's protective instincts kicked in, but then she glanced at me. Liam's mother, however, would not stand for it. The girl she had scorned in the past was, in her eyes, now the ideal daughter-in-law. "Thea is the only one I will ever accept as my son's wife. Who do you think you are? Want money?
Fine.
Prove your claim. But a Liam child will never be abandoned, and you will never live here." The scene descended into chaos. Grandma Liam intervened, gesturing for Liam's mother to take me upstairs to speak privately. "Liam, stay and manage the guests," she instructed. Upstairs, Liam's mother clutched my hand, lavishing praise. "Thea, you are perfect for my son. Don't let that boy fool you. Liam is stable. Go abroad with him, and when you return, I'll give you a magnificent wedding." Her words were cut off by Grandma Liam rapping her cane on the floor, exasperated. I pulled my hand free. "Grandma Liam doesn't like me. I never wanted to marry him. Everyone knows he cares for the girl downstairs. The Liams have been kind to me. I won't betray them. I'll leave tonight and make room for her. I can take care of myself." Tears filled Grandma Liam's eyes. She had raised me as her own, always hoping I would marry Liam to avoid hardship. But now, with this mess, she wouldn't force me. Liam's mother sputtered, unable to believe my defiance, but Grandma Liam silenced her. She handed me a file from her safe. "Thea, these are the shares your biological parents left for you. I plan to give them as a wedding gift, but you're grown now. They're yours. I stared, stunned. My parents had left me an inheritance? I trembled as I opened the thick file. Liam's mother tried to intervene, but I ignored her. This new life had brought an unexpected gift. Clutching the file, I bowed to Grandma Liam. Thank you. I'll take care of myself. I'll move out tonight, but we'll come back to visit. As I gathered my documents, Liam blocked my path, his eyes unreadable. Where are you going? None of your business. I laughed bitterly at the small bag I carried. After over a decade in this house, this was all I had. Beth, noticing us, smirked. Leaving so soon? Don't come back too often. I ignored her and brushed past Liam, letting him know with every motion that he was no longer my concern. You've always wanted a child, haven't you? I said, voice dripping with sarcasm. Well, someone's having one for you. The moment I stepped outside, I spotted Jackson waiting by the gate. He took my bag and gently brushed the tears from my cheeks, his warm fingers lingering for a moment where Liam's mother had poked me. Are you all right? He asked, eyes full of concern. I gave him a wide, relieved smile. Jackson, I'm free. For the first time in a long while, my future felt bright. Thank you. You don't need to pretend to be my boyfriend anymore. From now on, you're just my landlord. So, Mr. Landlord, can I move in tonight? I started walking, my heart light, not noticing Jackson had slowed behind me. When I heard his soft voice, I realized he had stopped.
Oh.
You're welcome.
But
I don't want to break up. I froze, confused. We had never truly been together. His tall frame looked lonely under the streetlight. I walked back and tugged his arm. Come on, I don't have anywhere else to sleep tonight. He hesitated, and I felt the weight of my words, that I was using him, then discarding him. I suppose I didn't really help you get back at Liam, I said quietly. Using me for that probably won't work. He doesn't like me, and well, you don't like me either. Before I could finish, he blurted. He does. And I then trailed off abruptly. What did you say? I didn't hear you, I pressed. He quickened his pace ahead of me. I said, I agree with you. Liam doesn't deserve you. I jogged to catch up. As a thank you, I'll take you to a great show later. If Liam comes out of it unscathed, I'll even take your last name. Jackson stopped, looking at me seriously. Okay, I'll do whatever you say. There was a fire in his gaze that made me pause. He seemed almost too eager for the future we were stepping into. But someone else was equally eager for a certain day to arrive, Beth. Her pregnancy had accelerated Grandma Liam's plans, and a wedding date was set. On the wedding day, however, Liam vanished. No one knew where he was. In the bridal suite, Beth vented her rage on everything she could reach, but even in her fury, she had to endure it. She had planned this meticulously. The baby had to be secured, and either Jackson or Liam would serve her purpose. In my past life, Beth hadn't married Jackson. She had been imprisoned for poisoning him and extortion. Her pregnancy might have softened her sentence, but she had been careless, miscarrying after drinking heavily at the party. The groom's absence caused chaos at the venue. Liam's mother paced like a caged animal. Beth hovered beside her, one hand on her belly, putting on an air of concern. But Liam was unreachable. Jackson and I exchanged knowing smiles. Liam's pride wouldn't keep him away for long. He would return. Beth had fooled him once, and now she would pay the price. A text confirmed it. Liam was en route from the hospital. As instructed, the cleaning staff had accidentally let him see Beth's lab results. It was a lucky coincidence. The report showed Beth was 3 months pregnant, less than 2 months since graduation, and Liam had been abroad preparing for exams. The baby couldn't be his. Sure enough, a grim-faced Liam entered. Beth rushed to him, feigning worry, but he shoved her aside. Don't you have anything to say to me? He demanded, voice icy. Beth's face flushed, but she quickly adopted a tearful expression. Liam, it's our wedding day. You left me waiting while I'm pregnant. Don't you have a word? Liam's fury was palpable. I do. You and that bastard in your belly, get out. He grabbed the microphone and announced, the wedding is canceled. Beth hit her head on a pillar in the struggle, but she wasn't done. She turned on me. Thea, why did you frame me? Why can't I be happy? She screamed, grabbing at me. I stopped Jackson from intervening. Liam tried to restrain her, but she directed her fury at me. I flung her arms off me and raised my hand to strike, but remembered she was pregnant. Instead, I lashed out at Liam. Slap after slap, he reeled. His mother's protests went unheard. Every word he had spoken earned another strike. The chaos caused Beth to miscarry. Liam was taken into custody for his involvement in Jackson's poisoning plot. The wedding ended in a fiasco. Beth's relentless scheming didn't end there. Once released, she demanded a massive payout from the Liams, but was promptly charged with extortion. Later, she encountered Liam on the street. In a fit of rage, she ran him down and both died. Even across 2 lifetimes, Liam's fate had been sealed. In the end, we all make choices and we all live with the consequences.